So you wouldn't mind collabing with some of them?
I wouldn't mind collabing, not at all. I love collaborations. I did a couple things with my man Chico DeBarge back in the day.
Yeah.
My man Case, I did a record with him.
That's cool.
But I guess you would say the big names like Kelly, or
Yeah, what's
Usher,
up with that, man? Are we gonna have a Usher and Joe, or a Joe and a Kells?
Well, on my part, I'm game for it, but I think the ego's on the other side, and
wow,
I think it may be a little difficult to bring those
some intimidation going
together. You got management that would have a big say so in it. You got record companies that would have a big say so in it. So
I see.
I don't know. You never know how it would go down.
Straight up, man.
It'd be interesting.
Exclusive information from Joe right here.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Where You At? Produced by Sean Garrett, right?
Sean Garrett.
Yeah. And is he someone you've worked before previously? Maybe in...
No, actually, this is the first time I had, this collaboration.
First hookup, right?
First one.
And that went well.
Went incredible. I mean, but I already knew, when I had a chance to work with him, I knew what he was capable of, and what a great songwriter and a person with great melodies. So he came with a great concept as well, something that's completely different than everything else that's out here. And so that's what I knew that he would bring to the table, some originality. And something new, something definitely new that you haven't heard before.
Yeah. Someone else you've worked with has to be said. Rest in peace to Joe Levert.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big loss right there.
Huge loss. One of the greatest persons, greatest people that I've ever met. Very genuine, very real, honest with the music. And what an incredible session, man. I mean, when we did How Soon, the song that was off of my All That I Am album, one of my classic records.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the energy, that Gerald brings to a song. I mean, when you see him perform on stage, he has like the energy of, he's a big guy with all his energy. You know what I mean? He gives it all every night. And that's one thing that will always go down in history and memory for me. With Gerald, he just gave 100.
It's on the first record.
That's on the second album. But the first album on Jive Records.
Yeah, which was your kind of introduction to everything, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. How did that kind of fare for you? I mean, you brought out that first. I mean, people may not even know that first album,
Yeah, man. The first one is called Everything, which was on a whole new record, released on a different label.
Yeah.
Mercury Records. Excuse me. In which the first song that came off of the album was a song called I'm in Love, with a Jamaican, undertone to it. Really hot record. And that's the song that brought me over to the UK. Had me touring throughout the UK off of one album. And man, what an incredible start for me. I mean, not a lot of people get a jump start like that, to go straight from doing an album to coming overseas and touring. So,
how old were you when that came out?
I believe I was around 19, 20, maybe somewhere around there.
It looks like you haven't even aged, man. What's the deal with that? You got some special cream or something?
Oh man, it must be in the water out there or something, But I feel it. I feel it every day. I'm definitely getting up there. I'm not as young as I used to be.
Well, the consistency is there, so that's what really matters. How hard has it been for you to consistently remain in the top flight of R&B over the years? I mean, it must be hard to be at the top of your game for so long.
You gotta stay. You gotta stay on top of it, man. I mean, it's like I said, competitiveness has to be there. You gotta look at, you gotta follow what's going on out there in the market, because this is a business at the same time. And you gotta keep your ear to the radio, to the streets, what people are hearing, what they're wanting.
Yeah.
At the same time, you just gotta be true to what you have to offer, to see if that, works together with what everybody else wants. And I just being competitive, man. I know Chris Brown is out there. I know Neo's out there. Omarion, Mario. It's just a whole lot of new R&B male singers.
I think they still got a way to go, man, before they
get up to they're just starting.
Standards.
You got to give them credit. They're starting with a big bang. A lot of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you start with that big bang, it's kind of hard to take that to the next level. My rise to the top was more of a gradual, I would say, slower process. You know what I mean? But it's sustained on a more of a respect level. And everywhere I go, everywhere I perform, I get a different, type of respect on the stage. It's like, they really understand where I'm coming from. They feel me. And I think it's going to take them time just to build that. You got to go through some things. You got to go through people, their lives being, having to change, throughout the course of time. So, and we all grew together, in a sense. My first album came out from one to the next. We all sort of grew up together.
It's a history right there.
Yeah, it's a history.
Yeah. I'll speak about your early years as well. Did you envision, did you have this in your mind that, you'd be at this point where you are today? and manage the success that you've achieved?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, my thing was to get a great job. You know, I was gonna go to school, go to law school.
Yeah.
And really into sports. You know, so I love music. You know, that was everything I knew. I played guitar, I played keys and drums, but I never thought that I would make a connection that would lead me to this point. You know, but I guess sometimes when you don't put obstacles when you don't have obstacles in front of you, let's say maybe you've committed to something that you have to do now and you can't get away from it, or something that has caught you up in life that you can't make another decision. You know, it is this way now. You got it, and that's the way it's going to be. I didn't put myself in situations like that where I couldn't ultimately make a decision. So I'm gonna move to New York and see what happens. You know what I mean? But I did that and got involved with a whole lot of great people, man. And just everybody who was so into the music and wanted to find someone who was good and into the music as well. So we just connected, and one thing led to another. Once you start meeting one person, you start meeting other people.
Yeah.
Who wants to introduce you to the world, and it just happened.
And I suppose once you get past that point, there's no turning back, man.
There's no turning back. That's right. There's no turning back because, hey, you can't go back at that point. Once you finally sign and get something out there, it's written in stone. It's solid. I can't go and undo my first album.
Exactly.
That experience. So.
And if you were to turn back, you'll be kicking yourself forevermore. So you'll be always
That's the wrong
wondering,
way.
What if? So
that's the wrong direction.
Take it from Joe. If you have a passion out there, follow your dreams.
That's right, man. That's right. You got to. Sometimes you can be caught up in the one thing, but that may lead to something else. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people are chasing their dreams, have been chasing dreams for years. I had a guy who I worked with on quite a few of my albums, and he's a producer and a songwriter. But he didn't really get his break until he was, in his late 40s, close to 50. So sometimes it takes a long time of you really struggling and trying to get to that point. Wow, this is my big break.
So what would you say to them out there, people that are trying,
Well, you got to keep going. I mean, sometimes you may have to have something on the side, but as long as you keep that focus on it, you know what? I believe in it. Mm-hmm. I know, you know what I mean? I'm competitive enough. I'm hearing what else is going on out there. I'm going to stick with this. And one day, the connection is going to be met.
Okay.
And it's on.
You have a universal message throughout your records, whether it be that first album or, the other albums you put out after that. I mean, come on, we all know what that message is, right? Love and sex, man. It's just so apparent on your albums. It's a winning formula for you, right?
That's what it is. That's the formula for me, I'm inspired by women. What can I say? It's just, they're beautiful. They're just, I would say, God's perfect gift to a man, and when you look at the way he made it in the beginning, he made Adam and Eve, but Adam asked for some help, in the beginning. He said, God, I want some help, I need some help, or whatever the case may be. So he sent him some help, but it wasn't the help that could be something that he couldn't do. Everything the help that God sent him, Adam could do everything. So it wasn't no sense of that. So he took a rib, out of Adam and made a woman for him.
You've done your research,
incredible thinking, you know what I'm saying, just to make a complete thing. I mean, because I just don't see, I don't know, maybe I go too deep.
That's
you know what I'm saying? It's more personal for me, you know what I mean?
At least you have a reason behind it.
Yeah, I do. So when I do get married, it's going to be a very serious moment, I guess, huh?
So are you a family man yet? Obviously, you mentioned when you do get married. So are you looking for love?
I'm always looking for a stable relationship. I don't want to just bounce around from one thing to the next. When you're dealing with,
you don't want to be a player no more, so to speak.
Man, because a lot of times I'm on the road a lot. You know what I mean? And after all these years, come on. You know what I mean? Enough is enough.
I don't want to get into it, but I'm feeling I have to, because it's just what you're about, man. You know what I mean? The whole love aspect of things.
I love the ladies.
Where would you be without the women, basically? I mean, where would you be right now, musically and, within yourself?
You know what? I can't imagine. That's something I can't think about. I don't want to think about that one.